the man who is calling the shots on who should be actually on the podium speaking at the end of the day. You also, you know, you tend to sit with these leaders, you advise them as it is moving forward, because it seems it's not what we perceive as, you know, wananchi, the perception that is being given that the Mount Kenya is formidable. Just listening to Kathy, it is not true on the ground. Even the numbers that are being touted, where is the metrics? How confirmable are they? You know, what scientific method do they use to say, oh, you know, we're at 10 million votes. If we combine with this other region, 17, and they will go home at the end of the day. The person of Rigathi Gachagua will be the undoing of alternative government. Is that so?
Well, figures, every politician, and I've done 7 elections where I was a candidate. I lost 3, I won 4. This therefore means I can talk with a measure of authority on how you can project your winning and your losses. Perhaps out of the 7, in one of them I knew slightly earlier that things were not going my way. And in the others that I won, I had already prepared myself for that. But that is really not a measure of political barometer. What we need to do, and perhaps more important, is for us to improve our political hygiene, so that when we talk about figures, they are figures that can be reflected on the ground and they can be confirmed by the people. And the little I had of Rigathi Gachagua, by the time I was talking of 10 million votes, it was not Mount Kenya alone. And remember, Mount Kenya is not the 5 counties or the 7 or 9 counties. It goes beyond that. There is Mount Kenya diaspora, including places like Nakuru and places like Laikipia, and of course the city of Nairobi. It may not be per se in Mount Kenya, but it is part and parcel of the Mount Kenya thinking. And the little that I know about Mount Kenya, because 20% of my constituents are from the same community, and most of them came from Kiambu. The little I know about them is that they have a communication system that surprised us in Kanu in 1992, because the person we feared most was Kibaki. But on the eve of elections, there was some communication that took place that Matiba became very formidable. As to whether Gachagua is going to be a factor, yes, Gachagua is likely to be a factor, not only in the next election, but many other elections to come. So for those who may not like his voice, his appearance, or his approach to politics, learn to know that Gachagua will be in town, barring natural disasters, for quite some time. And as to whether it's going to be a boon to the opposition, personally, as a political analyst and somebody who has done a bit of politics and read a bit of it also, I will not wish away Gachagua. Gachagua is an integral member, and what we are doing as the alternative government, which we are, because William Ruto will not be running around helter-skelter if we do not constitute anything. He's focused on Kalonzo, he's focused on Gachagua, and a few other people. But I can analyze without fear of contradiction that this race is a race of Ruto's life. He has to win it, or he will lose it, and he will go home miserably. But that is not really my intention. My intention is to identify what are the pitfalls in the way we are approaching 2027. One of the issues is the use of police. The other issue is the use of goons. If you encourage goons, and this is advice I can give to Kenya Kwanza, if you encourage goons in where you feel you may have the upper hand, you are also making it impossible for you to penetrate areas you would have gotten some votes. And this is something they ought to learn. As to whether the rest of the country is going to respond, Kenyans think in a way that at some stage they'll be unanimous, that this is not doable, or that we can give a chance to William Ruto. Omolo has said that we don't count. When we talk of ODM supporters, they affect the areas where he comes from. And therefore, we need all the votes. Finally, for this particular issue, Gachagua may be abrasive to some people, but what I know is that we want to create a team of individuals who are not going to say, it is I, me, myself. We want to create a team where people realize collectively we can achieve more.
Right.
Than achieving as an individual.
But let me come to you also, Honorable Kirwa, because yes, you as a person, you've had also the same special umbrage with the personality in the president, yes, right? That I'm a me, myself,
yes,
and I person.
Yes.
And now you come also to the alternative government, you're meeting the same personality of me, myself, and I. Right, what you're escaping now, yeah, jumping from the pan, yeah, you're actually now jumping into the fire as it is right now. So how then will you contend with the same personality where you are actually coming from, when you used to be with?
There's a lot of work we are doing behind the scenes. I've done a document over 250 pages, and all that is to use my experience, my knowledge, my education, my capacity to analyze issues in a way that we create a team. And to create a team, you need about 3 stages. We've formed, we are bonded, we are now norming before we perform. And when you people talk about us presenting a manifesto, ask yourself, since 1963, how many months do you present your manifesto? We are criticizing Kenya Kwanza on the basis of their own manifesto. You told us this, you are not doing it. But our manifesto will be presented on the right time when we feel issues now need to crystallize on the final stretch to the next general election.
But the crystallizations needs to be coming now, as just Kathy is saying.
That's why,
as you've touted yourself as an alternative government.
We are.
Sloganeering will not be now flying with Kenyans. Kenyans wants to hear alternative government. See, what do you have on the table?
Who is giving taxes?
As a craftsman, I know.
Yes,
you're very good in giving technocrats advice.
Yes.
And also that document you're working on.
Yeah.
Right? I think it is a high time right now. People see this is the alternative government. We used to have the kitchen cabinet, yeah, on the floor of the house, and we couldn't hear. You know, some of the policies they suggest that is countering, you know, the main government by then. This is what we want to hear. This is the kitchen cabinet or a government in waiting, and they have alternatives for Kenyans.
We do have, and we'll be releasing our milestones at the right time. We cannot just, on the behest of somebody who has failed on his own program, try to present an alternative when it is not time for that. What we're doing is very clear. We have a clear timeline on when to present one issue. And one of the issues is that we shall exercise out of our political language the issue of taking public resources like personal resources. That is something that we were very clear. We have been looking at the models that they are presented in terms of share, in terms of education, and we'll be able to present to the people of Kenya what is our alternative thinking. That is the way it is. But when we fall to the narrative of William Ruto, telling us that we don't have this, we don't have this, even we don't have brains, which school did he go that we did not go?
Right.
Yeah.
Gachagua is on record. But Gachagua is on record actually saying, you know, some of the legislators around me, they are not, even cannot